Sean Diddy Combs was fighting for his life in federal court. Having been charged of some heinous crimes, he was staring down the barrel of a life sentence. And after 6 weeks and 34 prosecution witnesses, the jury has spoken. And it's giving plot twist. No witnesses, no testimony from Diddy, and a 20-minute defense. And the victims were still let down. This wasn't about one man. This was about silence, abuse, violence. And what happens when survivors finally speak up? Welcome to SlayQueen TV, where real talk meets royalty. I'm your girl Nikki Slay, aka the SlayQueen, and this is another royal report, Diddy on trial. Now the jury said guilty, but on the lesser charges. And in the court of public opinion, the verdict is still out. So in this video, we are going to look at the verdict that shocked the courtroom and the culture. So without further ado, let's spill this tea.
She got style, grace, she got attitude.
Diddy was facing 5 charges, 1 count of RICO racketeering, 2 charges of trafficking, and 2 charges of transportation to engage in professional activities. He was acquitted on the RICO and on the trafficking. Why? Guys, this infuriated me. I cannot understand. I could not understand. I still don't understand. And I honestly feel like someone was either extremely scared or they got an extremely fat pocket, because this is not giving what it was supposed to have gave. Can you imagine what it took for those victims to speak up against this man that they know is powerful? They've seen it, they've lived it, and they spoke up. Poor Cassie, 4 to 5 days, heavily pregnant. And I know that baby felt that. They feel it. They feel the stress. They feel your anxiety. They feel your worry. That was probably so hard for her to do. But this to be the outcome, I feel like the victims were let down. I cannot help but feel like the victims were let down. Now, not because of my feelings. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you got to take your feelings out of it. Not specifically to me, but to people like me who feel the way that I feel. You've got to take your feelings out of it, which is fair, because law isn't about our feelings. So we can put that to the side. I'm happy to do that. But if we look at those closing statements, ain't no way you should have got off. There is no way. The statements that I heard from the prosecution, there's no way you should have got off. Now, I understand them struggling with certain things throughout the trial, because there was a lot of reports that it was getting confusing. Why? Because there was so much evidence. It was mountains of evidence, mountains of exhibits. As I said before, 34 people testified against him. 34. And you lot couldn't understand what was really going on. I get it being confusing throughout, because different witnesses and then different testimony, and then you've got different exhibits in connection with different crimes going across 6 weeks. So I understood that it got confusing. My concern is that the closing statement was so contrast in not only how they addressed the jury, but how they portrayed their case. Now, Agnifilo, whatever his name is, he made a mockery of not only the case, but of the victims. And I cannot believe that the jury went for that. When I tell you, this one really, really hurt me. This really hurt me, and I feel silly saying it, but I've got to keep it a stack. I stand with victims. After hearing the verdict, I sat for a moment and I thought, can you imagine how Cassie feels? And I had a sinking feeling in my heart. That poor baby girl, it is so disgusting that they literally, in their eyes and in a lot of our eyes, they risk their lives to do that. He ain't no joke. He is no joke. Where's Biggie? He's not a joke. And that must have been so hard, only for him to be let off. We're going to talk about other stuff, but I just got to get my feelings out, because that affected me. And you know what it was? People are saying, oh, why do you care if he goes to prison? Because it says something. This was a chance to prove to these men, these powerful men, these abusive men, that you can't do this. You cannot keep treating women like they're nothing, like they're your possessions. For you to control and abuse and manipulate and extort, that is not okay. And what happens? You just let them know that it's perfectly fine. That's how I see it. What are you telling the youngsters? Do you know when I realized how deep this really was, which I've always known? I've been following the case, and these witness testimonies were harrowing. But when it really hit home for me and hit my heart is when my 2 kids came to me and said, oh my gosh, mum, what the hell just happened? What can I say to that? My son says, I've lost all hope and faith in humanity. We are doomed. He's only 16. That's hard to hear. It's really hard to hear. And I'm pretty sure that he ain't the only one. He isn't the only one. And it makes me so proud. It makes me so proud of them because they understood that what he was doing was not okay and he needed to be locked away. Only for this? Ain't no way. Do we agree with this verdict? Do we think justice was served? I definitely don't. I think this is a travesty. Literally a travesty. If you notice, I've been gone for a little while. I was meant to be updating y'all. I couldn't even do it. I was editing a video about the closing statements when the verdict came out. I was sitting right here at my desk. My TV's right there. And I'm editing, and I heard the verdict and I completely had to step away. I had to let it go for a few days because, wow. And it's a learning curve for me. I'm new to this, yeah? And I've got to learn to separate myself from the cases that I look into or that I cover, but it's hard because I feel it for victims. There's women out there right now today going through what Cassie went through. There's women that have gone through that and come out the other side of it, hoping to see some change, hoping to see some justice. And they got diddly squat. It's sad, it's sad, it's sad. It's very, very sad. I need you guys to get in the comments and let me know how you felt about this. Not only how you felt, but do you agree with it? Do you agree with them acquitting him on the racketeering? Now, again, before and after, there are a lot of people saying they overcharged him. It wasn't racketeering. It isn't an enterprise. And I'm just like, huh? I can't wrap my head around. Christy Slavic for the prosecution, she started the closing statement. So she went first. 4 to 5 hours she spoke. And the reports were that she put everything into a neat little package. She made it easy to understand. She tied everything that confused the jury, the alternate jurors, everything that was confusing. She laid it out in a timeline and she allocated each piece of evidence to where it fitted in the timeline. She gave instructions. The judge also gave instructions, but she gave instructions as to why we are charging with this and how and why you should be finding him guilty. Now, in terms of the RICO, that was based on him being the head and his staff, his employees, carrying out crimes on his behalf to benefit him. That happened. You can't pay your staff to blow up cars, bribe people, hold up partners in hotels because you battered them and they've got to stay there until their bruises heal, can't leave, bodyguards outside. Hey, that's not an enterprise? Quiet as it's kept, it's called Combs Enterprises. Like, I shouldn't laugh, but it's like, what is this? I cannot fathom it. In terms of the trafficking, she was very clear in what she said. She said not all freak-offs are going to qualify as trafficking. She was clear about that. So we're not saying you have to find that they were coerced every time. We're not saying that you have to find that they were forced every time, threatened every time. That's not what it takes for it to be trafficking. What it takes is just one time. One time when Cassie didn't want to be there. One time when Jane didn't want to be there. And I feel from what I heard, from what I read, they made that clear. We saw that already when Cassie couldn't leave the freak off. She couldn't make that choice for herself. She left in such a hurry. She didn't even put shoes on. That shows that she didn't want to be there. If I leave somewhere, I think it's safe to say that I don't want to be there. We saw what happened. Is that not the one count? Is that not the one time of trafficking? Even if we ignore everything else, even if we ignore earlier days when she did seem more willing to go with it from text messages and so forth, even if we take that out of it, that one time is all it took. She was clear about that. She said, forget all the other times. You just need to find one. Just one. And he's guilty. They couldn't find one. That's what makes me say someone was paid. Someone else got a brown bag with 100k in it. If not all of them, because I cannot believe that you watched that video, listen to Cassie's testimony, and you couldn't find one instance when she didn't want to be there. That's ludicrous to me. Jane. Now, Jane was very different to Cassie. I understand that Jane was a harder victim, a harder survivor to fathom. Her testimony was different to Cassie's. Her reasoning, I feel, for being there was different to Cassie's. I think they had similarities in that they both wanted to please him. They both did what they thought they needed to do to satisfy him to their own detriment, but they both got to a stage where it became too much and didn't want to do it. And we heard a voice note from Diddy when Jane got upset and didn't want to partake anymore and started blocking him, or I don't think she blocked him, she started ignoring him. And the voice note was him saying, we can play this game, not verbatim, we can play this game, you can ignore me, but long and short of it, get back to your job. That is what he said. He used the word job, his voice, it's a voice note. This isn't hearsay. This isn't her testimony that we now need to decide whether we believe her or not. We heard him say it. We can argue, we can bicker, you can ignore me. He said something like, almost like, you can ghost me, but when I ghost you, it's another thing. And what I took that to mean, and what Jane took that to mean, is when I ignore you, who's paying your rent? Now, again, everybody has their own opinion on that. Whether you're on the side of, well, that's your business because I don't live in a £10,000 a month property, or the ones that understand that the quality and the value of the property is neither here nor there. For me, it's the threat of losing your home. The threat of losing any home is the threat of losing your home. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. Do you think she had less anxiety about losing where she lives, the home that she's made for her and her child? Do you think she had less anxiety than someone who was being evicted? Do you think the anguish, the anxiety towards that differs? I don't. That's just my opinion, but I don't. But again, I do understand why Jane was difficult to understand. I get that. You have to really get how abuse affects one to understand her. So with her, I kind of get it, but then even then I don't. Because again, one time there was an incident which I don't remember anybody denying, and this is why it just drives me crazy. It's driving me nuts, because not only did he not speak in his own defense, which we knew he wasn't going to, it would have been the end of him had he have testified. The prosecution would have chewed him alive. He would have showed himself, he would have showed his arrogance, and it wouldn't have gone well for him. So I understood that. You mean not one somebody could stand up and vouch for this guy? Does that not say a lot? Now, I know going from reports, they're saying that they didn't put on a defense because basically they didn't need to. They didn't feel that the prosecution proved their case. Maybe they were right. Don't think so. A lot of people are blaming the prosecution because you lot didn't do your job, you didn't prove the case. I disagree. You can't say to me you just need one time that Cassie didn't want to be there, one time that Jane didn't want to be there. And I see that from Cassie. And there was an incident where Jane had an altercation with him. She said, I think that was the first time he actually put hands on her. Admittedly, she started that fight, as in the physicalness of it. And I think they're saying it was unprovoked. She just lick his head into the side unprovoked. Again, I disagree, because you've done had her on her back. She's been begging you that she don't want to do it. So unprovoked is a bit strong, but I understand you don't hit first. That's how I was raised. You don't hit people, you hit back. So I get that. But her being a woman, he really got the better of that fight. He kicked down doors, door after door, chased her down. She ended up in a closet. Apparently she got changed in the closet so that she could move quicker, so that once he found her, she could cut. So she changed, had the fight, he continued doing whatever, and then after that told her she must go to the gate, let in the escort, gave her some narcotic to take, and then said she must go and do whatever she needed to do. That isn't one time? Or am I wilding? That's the one time that it takes. And then how can we ignore the fact that he said to her, get back to your job, but she wasn't trafficked? I'm astounded. I really, with every fiber of my being, thought they were going to find this man guilty. I thought he was not going to see the light of day again, and maybe it was just my hope. I wanted the victims to feel vindicated. I wanted them to feel that all that they went through, that 6 weeks of having their names and their testimonies dragged through the mud across the world, was for a reason. Now it's not even for what? For what? If I'm them, I'm mad at the prosecution though. That's where I would be mad at them if I was the witnesses, because I'm pretty sure that it was, a lot of them were subpoenaed, so they were forced to be. The cook was subpoenaed, but she didn't end up testifying. You force these people under the pretenses of we don't lose, only for you to lose. That's crazy work. He's been convicted of 2 crimes, the 2 lesser crimes, which are the transportation to engage. And do you know why this one bugs me more? You've said what he did to Cassie was okay, what he did to Jane was okay, but him having the men who were paid, who were willing and paid and crossed state lines, that's where the crime is. So those are the victims. That's how I'm seeing it. Like, what is this? I can't believe it, guys. Like, I gotta keep it a full stack. I cannot believe it. Now, another thing that confuses me is that the jury were instructed to consider the predicate acts. They only needed to find 2. I mentioned it in the previous video, just 2 each. It didn't even have to be the same 2. And of that list, we've got kidnap, we've got arson, we've got trafficking. So the jury deliberated for 3 days. And I think even that doesn't sit right, only because it was so much evidence, so much testimony, so much exhibits. And I know you're sitting through it throughout the whole time, but apparently they were falling asleep and stuff. So I don't know what they took in from what they didn't. But to be able to deliberate for just 3 days, that's not seeming a lot. And I'm not sure that they even did they? Because I know they started deliberating on the Monday. I'm sure by Monday evening they had said they got one juror that's wilding out. I did a video about that. Let's just say 3 days for argument's sake, but even that to me is not enough. You didn't think about this. I think they either went in with an attitude of, I don't care what they say, it's not RICO. Because that's a lot of people's talk. A lot of people's talk is, it's not RICO, it's not racketeering. And I'm finding that a lot of people, it's what you think it is. It's like racketeering, what we think it is. Trafficking, what we think of it. Like what we picture. We're picturing, what's the film there with Liam Neeson and the girl Pitney? Taken. That's what people are picturing in my head. You're picturing her being scooped up off the road in one corner. It doesn't have to be that. And I feel like the prosecution really made that clear. I stand by that. I feel like they made that clear, and that's what says to me this is something's going in. This isn't just as simple as they looked at the facts of the case. I don't believe it. I think, again, did the prosecution make a mistake with the jury that they agreed on? Because why have you got 8 men and 4 women? I find that very unbalanced, especially for a case like this. And they've got a lot of older men. And those types of things make a difference. So maybe that was part of the issue. I think another part of the issue is that Diddy's team was outside the court doing whatever they were doing. So if they were going to offer things to YouTubers, what were they going to offer to the jury? The jury should have been sequestered. But that being said, guys, I did just have to give my opinion on the verdict itself. But he was still charged with 2 counts of transportation to engage of professional work, which is serious in itself to an extent, because both charges can give him 10 years. But it is sounding like he's not likely to get 10 years for each. But it is all down to the judge at this point. The defense and the prosecution are going to have their opportunity to put forward their recommendation and why prior to sentencing, but it's all on the judge. And I am praying that this judge understood not only the case, but understood that the jury dropped the ball. I'm hoping that he does, because it's up to his discretion. He could say, screw what you think and screw what you think, he's getting 10 years for each, and I'm going to run them back to back. So he's in there for 20 years. That's possible. So he isn't out of the woods yet, guys. It's not all over yet, but this is an emotional roller coaster, and I ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Can you imagine the witnesses? Lord of God. So after the verdict was called, Diddy rejoiced. The family was clearly happy, which they're gonna be, because as his kids, like the daughters and stuff, you don't want your dad to go away for the rest of your life. It's their dad, innit? They lost their mum, so that's the only parent they got left. So I understand. So it sounds like they were happy. The lawyers were crying. The prosecution sounded like they were furious. I would be, because what? Really? Like, really? So Diddy started to pray. Now, whose God is he praying to? Because it couldn't be mine. Ain't no way. What? He needs to get off his knees. That's what he needed to do about your praying. That's cheeky. I'm sorry. How dare you? And you weren't praying to no God, yeah? Anyway, so he was happy. And then Mark Agnifilo, he said to the judge, let him out. Let him go home to his family. He's been acquitted of the most serious crimes. So the judge was like, what? Today? Like, you want him to go home today? And he was like, yeah. So he said, all right, bet. You lot bring in your arguments and we'll have a bail hearing. Bail hearing was set for that same day, 5 o'clock that day. And I was praying, at the very least, if they let this man go home. But he didn't. The judge knew what time it was. And part of the reason why, guys, is because some of the witnesses sent letters to the judge begging him not to let them out. He got a letter from Cassie. He got a letter from Deontay Nash talking about how scared he is for his life. Please don't let him out. I'm glad the judge took heed. I'm glad the judge understood. And he said he's not letting him out, and he is going to set sentencing for October. He's kind of not playing with him though, because he could have said sentencing's in a couple of weeks. He said, nah, go and sit in the bin for a little bit. You think you won? All right, go and settle somewhere. That's what the judge did. So I was happy with that. We got to see, guys, is he going to go with the recommendation the prosecution recommended? I think theirs added up to about maybe 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And the defense is added up to 2, if you're lucky. And then he's got time spent or time served. So they're trying to get him out as soon as possible. I'm really hoping that this judge understood. I know that you can't ignore the testimony. So you're not telling me he gets away with the arson? He gets away with bribing my man. We know that happened. He gets away with extorting her parents. And more importantly, he gets away with battering and abusing these women, using them for his own sexual gratification because he's a voyeur. This is okay. Yeah, this isn't good, guys. This isn't good at all. What does this say to victims? What does this say to a victim who saw what Cassie did and took strength from her and said, yeah, I could do this. I could tell my story. I could try and get justice. You told them, go and sit down. That's what you said. That's how I'm taking this. So we will see, guys, what is going to be the fate of Diddy. I'm happy that he's going to be in there until October, but there's a piece of me that wants it over and done with. I want to know what time he's going to get so he can get on with it. Yeah, he's in there for now, but I don't like the idea of him having any hope. No hope. Let him know that you are staying in the bin where you belong. Lock him up, keep him there, throw away the key. I've been said that. Throw it away. He don't deserve to walk the streets. He doesn't deserve to see the light of day again, in my opinion. And having children isn't a good enough reason. They're better off without him, if you ask me. This was hard. This was a hard watch. And I'm really praying for the safety of the victims, because I think we can all agree that they may not be safe, because this brother is, like I said, he ain't no joke. So I'm praying for their safety, and I'm praying that he gets the time that he deserves. And I mean the time that he deserves. That's not for me to judge, but we'll see. This has been another Royal Report. I appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. Do me a favor, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Also put on your notifications so you don't miss a royal summons. And get in the comments, let me know what you think, what do you feel, and what do you guys want to happen next. I'm going to be back very soon, but for now, I've been your girl Nikki Slay. This has been SlayQueen TV, and I will see you soon. Bye.